Week 5 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few kickers I look to start this week. The first kicker, Younghoe Koo of the Atlanta Falcons. Younghoe Koo, we always known he's a better kicker at home, has been on the road. Younghoe Koo's got a big boot indoors once again, Thursday Night Football, where it's a fast track, and usually these Thursday Night Football games are up and down the field with high scoring. So with Tampa Bay coming to town and their defense is middle of the pack, but I think opportunities will be there once again for Koo versus a division rival. Like we saw last week versus the Saints, we had 20 fantasy points and a game-winning field goal to walk it off. I think Younghoe Koo, once again, a solid kicker, and he'll put up a nice ball game. Next start, Jake Moody of the San Francisco 49ers. Jake Moody, week 1, what a game it was, over 20 fantasy points. Then he fizzled out a little bit, not many opportunities in week 2, and week 3 missing a big field goal that would have made a difference in that one versus the Rams. And then week 4, big ball game versus the New England Patriots for Jake Moody with 13 fantasy points. So this week, Arizona Cardinals coming to town, one of the worst defenses in the league, even though I believe the Niners, they can score a decent amount of touchdowns in this one, and maybe the field goal attempts will be down a little bit from last week to this week for Moody, but he's got a big boot. They took him last season in the NFL draft for a reason. In the 3rd round was the San Francisco 49er team, and he's got good accuracy, and he's been a good kicker. I know he's missed a couple big ones here and there, is Moody, but for the most part, he's going to be accurate. This week, a good matchup where they're going to be living in the red zone, I believe, is San Francisco, and he's a kicker I have confidence in. And start, once again, next start, Evan McPherson of the Cincinnati Bengals. Money Mac, he's been getting it going over the last few weeks. After the first week of the season, he slowed down, but 2 out of 3 games now in the last 3 weeks, double-digit fantasy points. Week 2 at Kansas City, 14. Week 3 versus the Commanders, 9. And week 4 at the Panthers, 13. So this week in a grinded-out division matchup versus the Baltimore Ravens, who give up the 4th most fantasy points to kickers on the season. I think Evan McPherson once again will go out there, and they're going to have to put points on the board if they want to keep pace with Baltimore. And I know it's only week 5, but this is a big ball game in the division already, because if the Bengals go 1-4, we know the track record is not good for teams making the playoffs. So Money Mac, opportunities will be there. And in these division games, we know field goal kickers are a big part of it. So this week, I like McPherson as a start. Once again, the next start, Chris Boswell of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chris Boswell, it's been a good season for him, no doubt about it. Week 1, 6 field goals. And over the last 3 weeks, he's at least had 8 or more fantasy points, is Chris Boswell. So this week in a matchup versus the Cowboys, where their defense is banged up, no DeMarcus Lawrence, most likely no Micah Parsons in this one as well. And this offense has trouble punching it in to the end zone as this Pittsburgh Steelers team. I think the opportunities will be there for Boswell once again. They know they're going to have to put up some points on the board, because this Cowboy offense, I know they've struggled at times, but still have explosive weapons and could put points on the board quickly, is Dallas with their upside. But Boswell, like I said, accurate kicker, one of the best of all time from 50-plus in terms of field goal percentage. And this week on Sunday night with the Cowboys coming to town, I think he goes out there once again and has a good ball game and is a start. In the 5th and final kick, I would start Tyler Bass of the Buffalo Bills. I know Tyler Bass, he's been up and down so far this season for the Bills, missing a few field goals early in the season. But last week, if he was going to miss one, that was the game to do it. They were getting blown out, lost 35-10. And this week, indoor game, don't have to deal with the elements. And anytime, obviously, a kick is indoors, that just adds to the appeal for fantasy owners, where it's going to be true, no wind, no rain or anything they got to deal with. In this ball game, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game at the Houston Texans, up and down the field between these two teams. And Tyler Bass, he's been a solid kicker over the last few seasons, so hopefully he's got the misses out of his system and bounces back this week, and I think he will at Houston. So it's a few kickers I look to start for week 5 of the fantasy football season.